Well, I want to ask you, do you eat pork rinds?
I have eaten pork rinds, of course, growing up in the South and being from the South. We would always go to this apple festival in Virginia every year. That's one of the things we miss about leaving Virginia. It was great, and they had a guy there that would cook fresh pork rinds like in this big pot. And I remember my wife elbowing me and saying, "We should buy some of those, but I don't want the whole bag." And so she went over and talked to the man and said, "Are you giving out free samples?" And so we got a handful of free samples just to try them, but they're pretty good. And then, of course, I used to do a lot of business in traveling back and forth to parts of Mexico, and that's big business down there. The chicharrones, they call them. You actually make a sandwich out of the pork rinds, and the area that I used to visit was actually the number one exporter of pork rinds in the world. And it was regular that I would get on a plane coming back to the U.S. and people would have trash bags full of pork rinds that they were bringing on the plane with them.
Yeah,
it was a hilarious sight. Oh yeah,
so that's funny. Yeah, I eat them from time to time. When I'm traveling and driving and I'm looking for a snack, that's what a lot of times that's what I'll pick.
Yeah.
And you know they've got them flavored where you can get them in barbecue or you can get them in really hot flavors and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And but I enjoy them, and but at the same time, this is a product that I would probably give a try. If I saw this product, I would buy it. I would give it a try, even though
I think I would.
Yeah, 80 calories is cool, and the fact that it's all natural, I think that's a great that's a great point. He early on got into the fact that that he's got angel investors. He told it real quickly that he only owned 30% of the company, and that his employees own 10%.
That was nice.
Yeah, it was nice. He got into that real early. But a $10 million valuation, pretty big ask. And but he had $200,000 in sales last year, and he thought he was going to do $2 million the year that he was in, and 30% gross profit. And he's in Whole Foods, Walmart, 7-Eleven, and we talked about going and doing that deal with 7-Eleven the day after his baby was born, I guess. And what was interesting about it, he built his own factory. He raised like $1.5 million and built his own factory to manufacture this product instead of getting a co-packer to do it.
Right.
And once again, I mean, this is what happens, out of all the things that come on Shark Tank, I'm intrigued by the food. There's a lot of people that have these ideas about how they're going to do food better. But it's one of the last things that I would ever want to get involved with. I just all the logistics.
Sounds messy.
Yeah, it's just a lot of moving parts and pieces that I like things that are a little more simple and clean, and I don't believe anytime you get into a food product of any kind, it's ever simple and clean. I mean, you got a lot of stuff going on with it, regulations, FDA, and then finding a co-packer that'll do the job, and they're not going to make it like I would make it. And, it's all those questions that come along. But he did it. And I got the feeling that Barbara thought that it was the right thing to do, because she said the only food products that ever been successful is when the owners took over the kitchen of how their food was being made. That was the statement she made, and Mark agreed with her.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I have coached people that have products that need to be manufactured, and they've been, one in particular was making and mixing and bottling her product in the basement of her home. And then to go out and start finding somebody to do that for her, to do the packing and shipping and mixing and all that stuff. It was a time-consuming uphill battle to find somebody that would do it and do it the way she wanted it done and all that sort of thing. I just remember it being very, very frustrating, kind of thing. But he did it. He's doing it. He's selling it. And I guess because of the way he's doing it, his margin's pretty tight. It's cost him about 90 cents a bag, and he's selling it from $1.99 to $2.29, which is
tight. Yep.
That's a tight margin. But he said he's 11 to 12 months from being profitable. That's why he's there. I want to get some sharks. I want to blow this up and get this business profitable in the next year. And Barbara told a great story about Pipcorn, and I remember them. being on the show and her doing the deal with them. She said she's never made any money from them, even though they've done $12 million in sales. They've had very little profit, and they're getting ready to sell half the company in order to keep the company running. It's just like she said. It just demands so much cash. She wasn't interested, and Rohan thought the valuation was too high, and he didn't believe you should own your own manufacturing, so he was out. Lori said it was too early. She was out, and then Mark got involved and. Did you understand the name of the cookies he was talking about? I couldn't get I kept rewinding it. I didn't understand the cookies he's involved with. Did you?
No, I didn't.
Let me see. And but he got to talking about 6 years ago. He got involved with a cookie company, and how they were making a lot of money. Let me see if I'm trying to pull it up here. Alyssa's. There it is. Alyssa's. ALYSSA apostrophe S, Alyssa's Cookies. And he's making a fortune off those cookies. She figured some stuff out. And so he was completely opposite everybody else. He was interested in this pitch, and he pretty much said, there's no way I'm doing it for 2.5%. And so he said, make me an offer I can't refuse. So he doubled it and said 5%. Mark said, nope.
Right.
So at the end of the day, to make a long story short, Mark said, I'll take 5% equity, and then I'm going to take another 5% advisory shares, and I want 20. I'll give you the $250,000, and so that was the deal that was done. And even though the guy only owned 30%, he said something really smart.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He goes, well, I used to own 100% of nothing.
Right.
And I think he'd rather own 20% of a company that's blowing up, making money, than have 30% and maybe not make it. So anyway, they did a deal with Mark, and it was cool. The guy had great energy, good pitch, and probably one of the better product ideas I've seen. That for me personally, I'd say something I'd buy if I saw it out and do it. So anyway, it was there was a lot of lessons to be learned in this thing. It
was a little bit of a roller coaster, but I think it's interesting the way they structure the show, and certainly put people on there that they know probably won't want to get a deal, but it makes for good drama, good TV, and like you said, good lessons.
Yeah. Well, from one of the reasons there's been I call Jimmy, when he's got an eye. He's one of those people that's got an eye for things that he was just. I don't know if he was born with or learned it. I don't know how it happens, but he's got a way of looking things that just make things really clear for people to see. I've always known that about him since we've known each other for the past probably 10 years and became friends. And he's got a way. I love hearing his insight about these things because he can look at something and pretty quickly come, make some decisions about what's good and bad. And it's great. I really appreciate you, co-hosting with me and giving me your insights. It really, it means a lot. And,
always a good time.
Yeah, it is, man. Well, I tell you what, we ought to do this again. What do you think?
Anytime you want, I'll be back.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate all you guys listening. The downloads and the people listening have never been higher. Hey, if you get a chance, go over and give us a rating, and give us a good one. Give us a 5-star rating over at Apple, and or whatever way you choose to listen to the podcast. We're on Stitcher, we're on Apple, and we're getting ready to be on Spotify. So looking forward to getting that going. Maybe by the time you hear this episode, we'll be on Spotify. And but anyway, go over and give us a rating and let us know what you think of the show, and so we can get more people to listen. And we got we're in about 61 countries or 62 countries, something like that. So it's kind of fun. Jimmy, I hope you have a great week, my friend, and thank you for joining me. And we'll talk to you guys next time on the Shark Tank Fan Podcast.